Hello, viewers. I'm SB,
And I'm Amabel.
and welcome back to Amabel Goes to 4X School. An episode that's it's gonna be a little bit more challenging. Maybe we got some difficult times ahead of us here, but I don't think we're gonna get immediately wiped out by another player, so that's good. So the next step of our faction quest, which at this point I am kind of thinking might be the most realistic chance for us to have a victory, requires us to colonize a new region. Every region we can see, and no doubt every region on this entire landmass, is already settled. So we are going to have to sail off into the dark and find something else. We have a few cavalry units that I think would be like perfectly reasonable to send out scouting. My one big concern here is that we know that my big concern as far as sailing west from Undand is we know Red has a big navy, and we do not have any kind of peace agreement with them. So while we know there is an island over here that isn't currently settled, I'm a little worried about getting just like swarmed by Red ships. We have no idea where they are or how numerous. There is a piece of land over here that appears to be uncolonized, so maybe that's a thing. Let's split off. We're just slightly positive on dust right now, and we're gonna negate that by turning a small number of armies into a larger number of armies. But
because the blue faction only has one city, so it can't colonize that region.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see here. We have our. This is also true. We have our hero over here. Actually, maybe our hero. Maybe this unit is the one that is best suited to exploring that. So we can just get in the water right there. So we're gonna search this ruin, find 5 adamantium, which is like extremely whatever. And then it's probably honestly time to put this hero back into governing mode. Like, we don't really need the hero for this exploration. We're missing all of this stuff getting built, and also all of that beautiful free extra science. We did the thing we needed to do. All right, we have a fair amount of dust on hand, but at this point in the game, heroes cost between 600 and 700 dust. So unfortunately, a hire is still pretty far off. Okay, Undand has finished some of its important buildings. There's a lot of stuff that needs to get built here. A sewer system, unfortunately, doesn't actually change our level of approval. It'll put us at 60%, which is the top value in the content bracket. So not actually a huge concern. Let's build a couple of these other low-level buildings, and I'm going to save dust for the moment. For one thing, we're going to want to. Oh no, never mind. I saw the 7 turns of the tooltip down there, and I was like, look, the timer on the pillars. But no, that's the timer on the dearth of dust effect instead. We're going to need dust to refresh our pillars whenever pillar time is up, and then also, I am hoping that we're going to get like a nice eclipse where we pull a large amount of dust from a couple of temple ruins and then are able to convert that into a hire. So yeah, I think that's the plan. That's the plan there. So Amabel, we're pretty deep in this game.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the degree of difference between like this faction and the Morgar? Because this is the first game that's really run long enough for you to see the different concerns.
Yeah, not only do they each have like a different gimmick, but like and that's something that I see a lot in like asymmetrical board games where you have a lot of common rules and mechanics, but each side has like a special. I'll go ahead and read this quest, and I'll continue.
Okay. So we have, in fact, increased our Empire Science output by 45 from the moment when that guy asked us to do that. So, Eureka! The intense research of endless writings has led to the reconstruction of an ancient device. a transmitting key that has opened a secret bunker in the earlier ruins. And so, next step. After so many years of searching, Lick cannot contain his excitement. Nobody, he believes, has ever resurrected endless technology before, even if that technology is essentially nothing more complex than a simple key to a door. But what lies behind that door is most intriguing. The vaulter is sure all his prayers will be answered in that deep crypt, but other voices counsel that the archaeologist is making a leap of faith, that he is seeing order where there is only chaos. Others suggest that the secret bunker may indeed hold remains of the Endless, but not anything as grand as a starship. Your advisors also caution that it is not infeasible that ancient defensive forces may be triggered by any approach. Bringing a strong military force would be prudent. So, this ruin over here that we searched to end the last step, we gotta search it again, and a bunch of guys are gonna jump out and say boo, and we're gonna... Listen, that's a tomorrow kind of problem. And when we do it, we'll get some dust, which is nice. We also have, for some reason, a couple of neutral armies have spawned around our territory. So a thing to know is that when the flag over a neutral army is yellow, it means that army is related to a quest of some kind, generally. So these may have spawned due to some quest that green or red has fired.
Okay.
They're probably not going to affect us. Probably we can just ignore them and they won't do anything to us, is my feeling. I'm going to take our cavalry corps here and run northwest. Like I said last time, I want to meet Purple and I want to see what all is going on over here. There may be more open land. With that, sorry, please continue your...
Yeah, so they each have like a particular gimmick to lean into, but I feel more than that, just like the games feel different, and how much that difference is the asymmetry, how much is just the community patch, how much is just what random geography you got. I can't say for sure, but I definitely I appreciate having the ability to compare these two. With the Morgwar playthrough, we were doing so much water stuff and getting those facilities or fortresses and getting a lot of stuff from that, and it felt like because of that we were maybe building stuff up a little faster, getting resources a little faster, because it definitely feels
sure,
like things are a little slower here. But with the Morgwar, we also could not fight anybody for most of the game.
Yeah, land combat was would have been a fool's errand for sure.
Whereas here, we're a little more hardy. Would you say the non-Morgwar factions generally have this kind of slower build-up?
I mean, a lot depends on a lot,
Yeah. And this is one of the things that I think probably draws you to these games, not just the complexity, but that there is so much noise, baffles, variance in the thing where you can't just do the same thing every time.
Yeah, I want to have to adjust, and yeah. So we're gonna start putting together a settler here because we gotta settle somewhere new. Obviously, I don't necessarily have the place figured out, but it's going to take a bit of time to build the settler. The settler is also going to need to travel a significant distance, so we're putting the big fancy improved movement talisman on here. And also, this is what our settlers look like. I don't know if we talked about that before, but that's just this is the factions. This is our vibe. So, putting a settler together in the capital with the fancy upgrades is going to cost 7 turns worth of production. I mean, it is what it is. We gotta do it.
Yeah.
We've also entered a new research era. So this right here will improve the Arcana level of all of our pillars, and I think that that's probably a pretty early concern. We also have discovered that both of the mid-tier strategic resources exist in our capital region. Unfortunately, only one deposit of each, and that's the whole empire. You know, this is all the
Yeah.
palladium we have for the entire empire. That's not great, but it's good to have some at least. So I think like our most immediate concerns here, obviously there is bread and circuses, which lowers expansion disapproval for all of our cities, and as we continue to expand outward, you know, more and more valuable. The extraction tech for the fancy resources, the dust refinery, which is just a huge amount of dust. It's just a very, very big dust building. All of this stuff is, I think, really significant, but we're going to start with +1 level on all of our pillars. And now that our capital is 2 tiles wide, you can see we are absorbing 5 tiles worth of improved resources off of the pillar that we have right here. So leveling this up will increase the value 5 times effectively. Yeah, that's a thing we want to take better advantage of.
What's our faction's name again?
The Ardent Mages.
Do you think the Ardent Mages would get along with the Cenobites?
Yeah, oh yes, 1,000%. It is worth noting over here, we have a Hyperium extractor in Green's territory. So Green is an entire technological age ahead of us and mining the tier 3 resources. And I feel like we're real behind in a way that's pretty dangerous. I don't think Green's going to go to war with us, but I do think we might just sit here and watch while they win a science victory or something. If it came down to having to do something about them militarily, I don't think that's realistic. So let's have our 1 unit over here. Just kind of keep looking around this region. I do hate to see all of the everything on this island fungused over. It's going to make it really hard to benefit from... Yep. What are you even building on? There's some resource there that we can't see, so blue's also in the next research era. Oh, this is on Pink's border, whoever Pink is. So this region might not be available for very long. But it does have a couple of interesting anomalies right here. These steel stalks are a plus approval anomaly with a ton of industry. So obviously that's always it's always very powerful. All right, and I think I'm gonna put one of our centaurs, just one, into the water over here. I'm gonna turn the rest around, and actually all of y'all should be in the garrison in Morinlock, because that's where they could be providing XP to our hero. All right, getting into the water costs all of a unit's movement, so we want to travel as much on land as possible before getting in the water, just to effectively reduce the number of movement points we're spending on it. Which is such a normal thing that I almost didn't mention it in terms of these kinds of games, but I recognize that, you know, again, like as far as it representing anything in the real world, like it's completely crazy that that these things work this way.
I mean, it's actually a very common thing that I've seen in military simulation board games as well.
But like if you move more, it should, you know, there are games where like getting close to spending all of your movement and then jumping in the water will eat up all of next turn's movement.
Oh. Okay.
And that is how it should work, right?
Yeah, maybe.
So I guess we want to expand toward the water over here, I think. We want to this is actual ocean. It might be beneficial for us to have a port over here, if for no other reason than to provide an opening for sea trade.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get a little village expansion going here.
You know, it really matters if because you have mechanisms that represent things literally and things represent them metaphorically. Mm-hmm. As far as like it taking all your movement to represent the amount of planning required to embark. on a sea voyage where you have to, it's giving you a way to you have to coordinate things, prepare things without it being simulating the actual preparations that you would go through in minute detail. So like it doesn't literally represent the thing, but in a metaphorical way it does. And that makes sense to me.
Oh. Okay.
What?
So first things first, this is a pink settler. So pink is trying to settle this region. They've turned around upon seeing our military unit because their settler alone cannot defeat our military unit, obviously, and we could just kill them. But the other thing, the thing that's far more significant, is precisely who that is.
All right. Oh, okay.
So these are the necrophages.
Right, remind me of their deal. They eat the dead.
They eat the dead. Which means they need there to be a lot of dead. That's kind of their whole thing, is helping things be dead. So now that we have formally met Pink, let's try to formally meet Purple as well. They have an extractor on this tile, so I think when we get in the ocean adjacent to it, we should meet them. So that should happen next turn. We're going to be able to do a little bit more sort of a little bit more in-depth wrangling of like what the strength situation is overall. Oh, right. You can't build a settler in a city that has a full garrison, because when you build a new unit, it goes into the garrison initially. Okay, so we gotta leave one slot open. All right, we're building important stuff here. Let's, like I say, get one more turn down before we do anything else. But this is probably not a smart place to settle, is my feeling. Provided that we even could, because like this guy could just put down a city at any moment. But what we will do is like search some ruins over here. I'm certainly not going to get aggressive and try to chase him down, because if that's a necrophage player, then he's got armies. Whether or not they're nearby, who knows? But I don't want to mess with it. It is far more likely that our guy gets killed than that their guy gets killed. Although their guy is being very aggressive.
Buddy, what are you doing?
Well, he knows whether or not he has friends nearby, right? We don't. Am I going to have to get on land to meet you? Why are we not getting an introduction to Purple? That's very strange, because I'm adjacent to one of their structures now. We should definitely be meeting.
Huh.
That's weird. I mean, it's not a big deal. Here's a question. We have a moment here where this city doesn't have anything of terrible imports to build. Like, what should we be making? Should we be building another military unit? Should we be... I haven't done any of this at all, but you can see around the settlement there are these little watchtower bases, these foundations of large buildings.
Mm-hmm.
You can build up watchtowers on those, and obviously they do the thing you would expect. They give you some vision around them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It might be worth it for us to establish a watchtower. Yeah, it might be worth it for us to put up a couple of watchtowers, honestly. Just like, you got to keep an eye on the AI. You never know. You never quite know what they're going to get up to. Do we have... There's another anomaly down here, another anomaly way out there. I'm trying to think, if we were to build like a burrow instead in this city, where we would put it. Because... I'm going to build up a watchtower. I don't think we need to keep... This position is good for keeping an eye on green. This position is good for sort of like keeping an eye on this like little bit of water. I guess like this region is actually not where we need a watchtower the most. This watchtower right here would be really valuable. We do also have access to this coastal defense battery. Not really a relevant structure here, but in games where you're afraid you are going to get attacked navally, I do think these are kind of interesting because they do damage to... if somebody rolls up to your coast with a navy, they can siege from the water.
Okay.
And a coastal battery will deal damage to all ships that are sieging you every turn.
Okay, that
So
makes
it
sense.
can help keep things, keep that kind of stuff under control a little bit. All right, if we were going to put down another burrow, I'm trying to hit a combination of tiles that will allow us to get a level up and also positions where we'll be able to really get a lot of value out of a pillar, right?
Yeah.
I also could just build for reaching towards this thing. I actually don't think this is a terrible spot. We're just going to build another burrow. We're just going to keep expanding, keep grabbing more resources. All right, building basic structures, getting our military in shape. We're doing important stuff, kind of, all over the place. I'm very worried about pink, but I'm also, like, pink and green are next to each other, right? So there's got to be some kind of friction going on there. The necrophages are not just not fighting their neighbor. That's not how that works. At this point, I'm actually like running around in purple's territory. There we go. Just solely for the purpose of meeting purple, which is, nope, we've formally met green, or you. Oh, here's why. Cause they're okay. All right, I see.
Because they're why.
Hold on a second. All right, so green has busted us back down to Cold War. Very concerning. We have been attacked. Our centaur is under attack by a large group of forgotten troops. So purple is the forgotten, and their whole thing is like stealth. You may have noticed them sort of. Neither of these armies is properly stealthed because they have non-forgotten troops mixed in. But an army that is each of the forgotten faction units has the stealth capacity, so armies that are made up entirely of forgotten are also fully stealthed. I mean, obviously we were just running away here. But now we've met. And now we know. And now we're leaving.
So their deal is stealth, essentially.
Yeah, they are. So they're sort of like a reflection of the vaulters. Oh, hey, that's a settler. Okay. I was trying to just get in the water, but apparently that's going to be a little bit more difficult than I intended. All right, well, we're going to try. I do not like the number of settlers we're encountering here because it's making me feel like it's not super likely we're going to find a place to put our own settler. All right. It is time to research something important to build. We definitely have building time in our cities. So we could push for the next tier of science buildings. These are better if your cities are larger. You can see you're getting bonus science per district. Not super effective on a one tile city, unless you are devoting population to science as well. But I think we're gonna grab the dust refinery first. It'll be good for us to just like push an economy play really hard. All right, our pillars just ran out. That's fine. Deal with that in a moment. I guess we can just replace these now. So at this point, notice the pillars are providing +5 per tile instead of +2.
Okay.
So that level up is something. I'm going to continue to drop growth pillars, and we can put these in positions now where the Yeah, we can put these in positions now where they affect multiple, more tiles because the cities are reaching out and grabbing a larger number of tiles. So that's all good. Here, I think I actually am going to build a watchtower. I think a watchtower on Red's border is a good idea, watching for, troops crossing. I would love to find out that Red's making a move on us when their troops are here rather than here. And down in Undond, we have... Yeah, still some more basic buildings to construct. Do we want to put up a third pillar? We have a bunch of dust right now. We certainly could. They're a little expensive. But I do feel like Undond still needs the help. Yeah, I'm going to put it down. Okay. Oh, hey, Khazar has come up adjacent to us. Isn't that helpful? So, there's a couple of interesting things about that. First of all, Khazar's presence here makes this not settleable. Khazar owns this region right now. Secondly, in theory, we could offer Khazar 30 grass silk, I believe that is, and make friends. Gain an Urkin without having to fight for it. That would certainly help to make our military not the laughingstock of the planet. We don't have access to the resource marketplace, though. We do have a grass silk deposit, but it would take a while for us to research the tech to start extracting this, then build the extractor, then wait to reach 30 units of it,
I would love to be friends with him, though.
Yes, it would be great to have a friend like that. All right, so now that we have formally met all the players, let's have a quick look at the situation. So jumping into everybody's shoes, remarkably, the necrophages are at war with nobody. Seems like a terrible play on their part. Red and purple are at war. And at the moment, that's the only war. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So that war is happening along, like, a front that runs like this, I think. Like, we can see the land here. I guess a lot depends on how purple's landmass is shaped. We're going to find out, hopefully, pretty soon. And everybody else is just kind of keeping to themselves. I'm a little surprised that Pink is not at war with anybody, but I'm wondering if Pink is on a landmass by themselves. Because, we don't actually see a land connection between Pink and Green's territories at all. And that would certainly increase the difficulty of the Slaughterfest. If we go into the status screens real quick, we can now that we've met people, we can see their positions on the graphs.
Mm-hmm.
So, overall military strength. Now, keep in mind, these numbers are not necessarily representative of, these are military points, and they're not really a good proxy for military strength because they don't take into account army compositions in any kind of way, and really the thing they value, they overvalue certain stats pretty tremendously, health especially. But a good thing, sort of because the thing that reflects most here is just the total combined health of the army. You can get a sense of just kind of how many units everybody has.
Yeah.
The necrophages have a lot, it turns out. The number of owned city tiles is what this graph is. We can see the necrophages own a lot of land. They have the largest population of all of the factions. We're actually outpopulating red, which is wild. It makes sense that we're outpopulating blue because they only have one city.
Yeah.
But red is doing very badly, is what we're learning here.
Okay.
We are almost caught up to red on number of technologies. We're way behind everybody else. But you'll notice we started pretty far behind. Yep, total food output per turn, total industry and dust, and these are all going to be grim for us. We are producing more science per turn than red. So red's fucked. Red's losing their
Yeah.
war is, I think, what we're learning here.
And how likely is it then, if you were to sail in Red's ocean, that Red would be putting resources towards you?
Well, we know that they have at least 6 fire ships.
Okay, right.
Already down here because we saw them, and they might have. It may well be the case they have nothing else to do, right? But okay, that gives us a better idea, sort of like the large picture of this game. I think it looks very bad for us.
Yeah. That's okay.
So we're having the Centaur flee to the ocean immediately. Go, buddy, go. Green is... Okay, just bragging. Auriga was and is our destiny. Dust production has returned to normal. Here's a red army. Just in the water.
Great.
Perhaps sailing to attack some purple destination. I'm leaving this guy right here for the moment. It's unrealistic. I should just keep exploring.
So I have a question. The AI players, do they have faction quests
Okay, so
that they can win through?
in the base game, this is the thing that's kind of in the dark, and I'm telling you my understanding. I'm not sure that I'm right about this. Oh, hey, speaking of stuff that I'm sure that I'm right about.
Oh, right. I'm so sorry.
I was going to start the episode with this, and I forgot.
Because I was singing. That's what happened.
Because you were singing, and it really just like all of my focus goes straight to the beautiful singing. Last episode we talked a little bit about the word segue, and I was wrong about a thing, and Amabel just let me. She pushed back very gently, and then just let me be wrong instead of correcting me. So I did learn afterwards. She did educate me correctly off camera. For real, what I really thought was that segue and seg were different words. The segue was a verb meaning, to change topics, basically, and then I was familiar with a segue in music. Right, because I'm a classically trained flautist. I was familiar with the segue in music and it being spelled that way in music, but I was like, but that's Italian. You don't get instructions in music in English. You get them in Italian. So I thought in English the word segue was spelled segueway, not the way the scooters are spelled, but anyway, I know better now. Amabel corrected me. Anyway, so we're going to continue just sort of looking around. I do hope that Red doesn't decide to take a moment out of their busy day and just crush us, because they could. It'd be very spiteful, but they absolutely could do it.
It'll take resources for you to go to peace with Red that you don't have.
Proposing the movement to peace would require, first of all, that we have the technology that allows us to do that. We don't know anything about how to diplomacy. And secondly, it would cost some influence to just put it on the table. And then on top of that, that's a thing to which you have to get them to agree. So it probably would, they probably would require that we pay them, which we can't afford to do.
Well, maybe at a certain point they'll propose it to you because they're in such a tough spot.
It's possible if we saber rattle near their border while their armies are over here, they might be willing to pay us to go away, or we might be able to just take Gogthal. If we can basically let their armies be northwest and then just come down here and chomp something, it would certainly help our position a whole bunch.
Yeah.
To that end, it might be, sensible for us to build some more military units in the near future.
Yeah.
I'm debating whether I think it's worthwhile to send another unit out of one of our garrisons to actually attempt this movement, with the intent of like putting into the water closer to Gogthal, just so that we can get an eye on it, see what's going on over there.
You're gonna tell me about faction quests though. And
Yeah.
AI.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So I know that ELCP makes the AI more capable of actually engaging with quests. And I think there were some cheats for this effectively in the main game, in the the main release of the game, that have been disabled because of the fact that the AI can now actually quest in ELCP. But I do not feel certain of that. But so the AI will, after a certain number of turns, the AI will definitely be like, hey, I finished my faction quest and I'm on to the victory quest. I don't know how much of that is them actually earning it and how much of it is just after X turns they get it,
Yeah.
For our purposes, it doesn't super matter. The difference is somewhat academic. So I think to try not to just be a sitting duck for red to kill for free if they want, I'm going to sail across here and just jump up on the shore real fast in this position where they can't get next to us. That 6-unit army vanished. Where did they go? I don't know. Also, we got 80 dust. Hooray. Okay, we're going to have a quick look around with this guy. I'm fairly sure there's no more land masses down here. There's not enough space, But hanging out next to Khazar is not doing anything for us, and maybe we just like hit a sea ruin or two. For the moment, I think we're just kind of watching stuff occur. So I'm going to enter a little bit of movement for our centaurs at the beginning of the turn, just try to get us clear of red and their intentions. Our unit is a cavalry unit, and as such is faster than that army. Get back in the water. Okay, so it does look like they might connect down here. At the very least, the land masses are close together down here. Chaka was claimed by blue. Okay, interesting. We can see one of blue's heroes over here with some very impressive combat stats. Holy hell. Look at that. Okay, well, that guy's a problem. Okay, hold on, Red. We're coming back to that. Religious fervor. Believing that Auriga's anomalies are signs of the gods' blessings, a new cult generates influence from anomalies. For 9 turns, 4 influence being generated from each anomaly. That's pretty good for us. That's a lot of extra influence. So, broadly speaking, I think I'm going to grab bread and circuses while we're building our dust refineries. Broadly speaking, if the AI offers you a deal like that, where they're like, "Hey, I'll trade you this straight across," they want it more than they are suggesting that they want it, and they will probably be happy to give you something if you are willing to put forth the effort to demand. So, let's have a quick look. Counter proposal. Yeah, see, he wants it this much. So we could potentially get some stuff off of him. We can see here, when I mouse over these terms, you can see how much the bar adjusts. The adjustment shown there is for, the entire stack. So it's possible that we could get some portion of his wine or whatever, but some portion of a stack of 13 wine doesn't do anything for us. You have some technology that I don't have. Although you're being very weird about it. Yeah, unfortunately, everything here would cost us so much in terms of Because it would be 70 influence to put this term on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would have to give him something to pay off the difference. And we're already out of.
Yeah.
If I wanted to get topography from him, like, does he want anything we have anywhere near enough? If I put up all of our Palladian for 28, I might be able to make up the difference with some titanium or some amount of our dust, maybe? Or we could trade back a technology in kind. Although, actually, no, we can't, because it would be 147 influence with this on the table. And you can see he's still paying for the terms that he put forth.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just going to end up accepting it as he offered it. Out of curiosity, how
we're
much
not in the best
how much
position either.
dust would, like, if I wanted some of your dust? Oh boy. How much dust would he be willing to part with? The answer is maybe none. What he considers a fair deal is peace and 9 dust. And I'm not paying 28 influence for 9 dust. Are we going to accept, though?
I think so.
Here's a question. Because, if he's about to go under, if he's about to lose this war, it really is massively to our benefit to try to peel a city off of his backfield while he's dying.
Yeah. Do you have the resources to do that?
We have an army. We have military units, right? They just need to be able to conquer a city's worth of defenders. And if his armies are off fighting, that may literally just be, 3 militia units or something. I think I'm going to pass, actually. I don't think he's a threat to us right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to secure his hindquarters here, but I don't benefit from those being secure. That's my feeling. You don't, you seem not to be, super jazzed about that plan. Can I ask what's up? Where's your
No, it makes sense. It's just, I know how precarious the situation has been for you, and
yeah,
I was like, well, you don't want Red mucking with you and getting in your way, trying to get across the ocean and whatnot. But no, I think you're right. Here's the thing:
we will not win by things continuing to be the way they are. Right? We gotta.
Yeah.
We may have to make some aggressive plays. I'm actually just gonna put our settler in the water down here, and we're gonna see if we can relatively safely. We gotta find a place to put down. Blue is sailing an army around my territory, and I don't love that, but there's nothing we can do about it. Ugh. Okay. If we wanted to... Because I could leave some of these units. You know what? I'm going to split off another unit, have this one go and fill up the garrison over there. So we're getting maximum XP on our hero. And then I'm going to run this unit down the road that we've constructed. And we're just going to peer across the border. We're just going to have a quick look at what's going on down here in this city and whether or not it seems very conquerable. Because here's the thing you got to think about. When you are playing on a high difficulty in a 4X, the AI is getting a bunch of free stuff.
Yeah.
The things that they build are going to be much more powerful than the things that you have built because they got to start with all of those resources, right? So when you take an AI city early in the game, you are gaining a city that is far more powerful than anything you already own. We're going to grab scientific literacy here with Zarcha Atanul on the way up to Firestarter, which is just a big percentage science boost. This stuff that's on the other, sort of the inside track of her faction thing is sort of a confused mess of things. An attack bonus for units under her charge, a flat attack bonus for herself, and then finally a very serious reduction in expansion disapproval, and this one's certainly not bad, but like you can make this very efficient move from 30 raw science to plus 45% science with only one skill point being dropped in between. And even though that one's not as good, it is still science. So I think it's hard to not want to do that. So trying to take stuff off of the AI is to some degree a way of getting to play with their resource bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
Which can be very powerful indeed. Okay, so Gogthal has 130 fortification, 4 units. We don't know if there's a governor. We could, in theory, have one of our heroes infiltrate the city as a spy, get a quick look at the garrison, but there's a non-trivial cost. Right, several turns of somebody's time, because you can only reassign a hero every 5 turns, plus the 54 influence to get in there. While you're down here, run over to this border. Okay, so see, Karandar is properly garrisoned.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Karandar's his capital. That makes sense. That city is not fucking around. But this other one, this looks grabbable to me, especially if 2 of those units are going to be militia. The 2, every city gets its 2 militia units. So there's only 2 real combat units, although militia are not to be fully discounted, certainly. But there's like 2 real-ish combat units. They are behind 130 points of fortification. Have we talked about fortification and how city combat works?
I think so, but it's been a while. You can please remind me.
Somebody entered Technology Era 5 this turn. Amabel, I do not feel like we are winning.
No, but that's okay. It's now when you are losing, do you tend to play it out?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Amabel, are you listening to the things I'm saying? When we're playing on these higher difficulties, we start losing, and we will be losing. Even in a successful game, we will be losing for most of the game.
I am listening.
You can't be bailing early and have any expectation of success.
Yeah, what I'm asking is, do you ever find yourself bailing in the late game?
You can certainly get to a point where it's like there is no longer a way to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I feel like it's perfectly reasonable to bounce. Although it can be useful sometimes to stay. There are situations where you might be able to learn something yet. We don't have an altar. If I put down an altar of Ariga right here and we grab the bonus from this anomaly, we will also have an altar, which I think is worthwhile. All right, cost of heroes continues to rise, but we're catching up to it. But yeah, like the essence of playing on these higher difficulties is about learning how to play from behind. You have to develop tactics that are not just like capable when you're playing against somebody who has like a significant material advantage, but are like optimized for that condition as much as possible. Yeah, I think we're going to leave you right there inside of our territory in the safe area just so that this ship doesn't come across and ruin everything. And we are going to move out of Purple's territory here just as quickly as we can. So, Red still has a full garrison in their capital. That tells us that they don't feel like they're in that rough of a position in the war. Like, they don't feel like they need to have everybody at full strength. They can have 6 combat units sitting back away from the front. All right, the third Urkin has emerged right in front of us here, unfortunately blocking even more unconquered land, or uncolonized.
Now, if you were to befriend the Urkin and move them elsewhere, would you be able then to... I guess you need to have somewhere to move them, though, so you're still in the same boat.
Stupid. fire ship. Why are you here? What is this army doing? Okay, they're just cycling through to the front. I wish we were in a better position to actually be able to see what's going on, where the combat is. Unfortunately, we can't really park someone in position to take advantage of, or in position to know that. It's just too far away from both our territory and sort of all the areas we have access to. Yeah, so Gogthal's interesting. I think once this watchtower is completed, it'll give us a better sense of whether Purple's forces are around here. And if we see Purple attacking the capital, that's when we want to rush over and scoop up Gogthal. We need a moment where Red couldn't just respond by pulling the garrison from their capital and marching it half a turn, you know? Okay, and this guy's just like looking for sea ruins for the moment. I gotta tell you, I'm not super jazzed about how this is unfolding. I do not feel like we are gaining strength very quickly, and we're not making very quick progress on this faction quest either.
Yeah.
So we know there's a red ship over here. Whether they will go out of their way to harass my settler, we do not know. But we can sort of duck back into our territory here for a second and become unattackable. Purple has brought a bunch of fire ships to harass me. So we can only see this one, but we are being told there is another group of 3 fire ships nearby. Yeah, this is ugly. I think we have enough health to narrowly survive the retreat. And then we just sail out into the water and hope. Red's running an army around over here. So we know, because we were just next to this city. This city is not particularly well defended.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. This area just became pink. This is a place I was sending our scout to check out because it was unclaimed territory. All right, there's still an island down here that looks unclaimed, and that is definitely like the location our settler is most interested in. But sure enough, here's all those fucking red ships. Amabel, there's a lot of bad stuff going on here.
Yeah.
Oof, and we are not fast at building these buildings. I feel like our cities are just like, a lot of our cities are just kind of too small and weak to be competitive here. All right, we did finish our altar, so that's good. And we have now sort of wrapped the city around the pillar, so we're getting 6 of the pillar's 7 tiles.
Okay.
So that's cool. But yeah, I'm definitely, I feel like we are behind and moving forward more slowly than everybody else. It is a demoralizing feeling.
I'm sorry, sweetheart.
Hey, 30 spices. That's actually pretty rad. That's enough spices to pop a booster. But it's about to be winter. So we will take a percentage food booster after the winter ends. When it becomes winter, that's going to be pretty bad for us. I'm not looking forward to that. I apologize if it sounded like I was going to have some kind of plan. All right, so you can see our watchtower now has been completed. Everybody's got their own architectural style. Our watchtowers have a second bonus watchtower just sort of floating nearby.
Okay, that's rad.
And we can, at the very least, see the state of Karandar itself. For example, we can see that it has jettisoned a large amount of its garrison. There were 8 units here when we checked like 2 turns ago. And because it is a capital, it has at least 3 militia. So 3 permanent units that can't leave. So they did move almost all of the military units out of Karandar, which perhaps suggests something about what's going on over here. If we had a stealthed unit, or a boat with a good sightline or something, we could try to keep a better eye on what's going on. I do think that there's like significant benefit. I think a lot of games, a lot of 4X games have like spying systems that are kind of tacked on and not really super meaningful or valuable. The importance of intelligence in this game, the importance of information is such that like it really is. If you have the opportunity to place a spy in a situation like this, it is so valuable to do so. So I don't really want our warlock just sitting at the border, because the AI does notice that and they will, leave a unit or two back just in case of shenanigans. But gosh, I sure do want to know what's going on. Unfortunately, we don't have another watchtower base to construct off of anywhere around here. All right, so this next turn, we're going to stay still with our explorer or our settler for a moment and hope these guys just sail off.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy needs to move immediately. Maybe like just like away from where we have seen opposing ships without any particular plan. All right, so we just finished our bread and circuses research, which is going to drag our approval level up a little bit. All the cities are happy. Nithin's actually pretty close to fervent. That fire ship is actively chasing us. That's really bad news. It does move faster than we do. So if they continue pursuit, they will catch us next turn. You feel a surge of ancient magic as a great colossus is brought to life. Well, that's not great. Somebody is on the build a kaiju plan. This quest happens when somebody builds their first guardian. You can take a unit, a single flying unit of level 4 minimum to these ruins, and you will reanimate the sleepers, which is to say you will unlock a unit that specifically has a significant damage bonus against guardians. So if somebody is relying very heavily on them, you can get giant killers. Unfortunately, guardians are not good as like the heart of an army in the first place. So if somebody's building a bunch of them, like, you're much more likely to see a standard army composition with a guardian that shows up as backup, because it allows you to jam a lot of resources into a single reinforcement tile. If somebody's rushing you with a bunch of guardians, you probably don't need the giant killer units. You can beat them with just a more traditional army composition. All right, so we only have that one luxury resource node from this era, and it's not even a particularly strong one. Getting access to our higher tier strategics is probably important. Okay, you I don't really have a plan for. Just like keep looking around for things to loot. These guys did not go very far, but there's some helpful weather around here. The seaweed reduces the movement effectiveness of ships, and these turbulent waters make ships a little faster. So we can run through, we can like get over here and then try to move west really fast at the beginning of the next turn. Are you out of movement for now? You are. Unfortunately, the bonus movement talismans that we put on our settlers don't affect their sea movement.
Okay.
Because they're not a settler when they're in the water, right? They're a transport ship.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The unit they are. So these guys are still faster than we are, and that makes it a little risky to try to sail west right now. If we were going to do it, we'd want to do it in a way where they lose sight of us. So I think what I'm going to do is just, for the moment, back off to a place where they lose sight of us, search a ruin, Okay, a solitary Fomorian comes alongside your ship, bored and lonely after days of travel in a small skiff. You invite him on board and he regales you with stories of the technical mysteries of the towers and fortresses in the seas, though the more he talks, the less you understand. Perhaps if your empire improved its scientific knowledge, you could comprehend his strange words and learn more of the enigmas of the oceans. Yeah, okay. We'll continue to build science stuff. We'll get there on that. That's not a very exciting quest, and the reward is not amazing. Like an amount of a resource that is too small for us to fire a booster is just not. It may as well be no reward.
It's not compelling, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Undond is now happy working on the tech that's going to push it up another tier. Or working on the building that's going to push it up another tier. We are continuing to stockpile dust in the hopes of being able to hire more heroes. And overall, I'm just feeling really bad about this situation. I'm not in a throw in the towel place just yet. We are way behind and we are falling further behind. But the AI will, they will have at each other. There is a chance, as long as we keep running our race, that everybody will trip over everybody else. And we can still find a way to come through. But that, at the moment, that's kind of what we're playing for. At the moment, that's the thing we have. So what am I going to do about this? This poor centaur can't make landfall with 3 move. You can see all of the coastal areas are like cliff sides around here.
Mm-hmm.
I can just do this and execute it as quickly as possible at the beginning of the turn and hope that he loses line of sight and decides not to follow us. When he's making his movement decision, he doesn't see us anymore and he's just like, oh, whatever, I'll do something else. I don't know how smart the bot is at chase logic. It may be the case that we can do an object permanence thing here. All right, somebody's offering a treaty. Oh, I think he's following us. Well, the good news is we can get out of the water next turn if we survive. Okay, nothing of terrible import over here. So many red ships over here. They really do not want to let this happen. Yeah, they're very, very obviously and specifically policing this settler. I don't think these ships have anything else to do. And we haven't found a place that the settler could go yet, so... Oh. Well, now that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's a curious thing indeed. So... an alliance is very different from just being pals.
Yeah.
You say yeah, like you're familiar.
I mean, just generally, I'm familiar with the concept of an alliance.
Okay.
I know, explain it to me mechanically, but it makes sense to me.
In 4X games, the word alliance is pretty mechanically loaded because what it often means is that you are binding your victory conditions together. If a player that you are allied with wins the game, you also win the game.
Okay.
He would take from us most of our dust, 80% of our dust, and almost all of our spices. I assume 28 is the amount he needs to fire his next booster. And the pillage technology, which I forgot we had. And he would enter into an alliance with us. The rules are different from game to game, and so I get a little fuzzy. But in a lot of 4Xs, being allied means you share vision.
Okay.
You get all the benefits of being at peace as well, including trade routes running to each other's cities and stuff, which obviously would be good for us. We could really use the trade. This is a bizarre thing, and it's super weird that he keeps like getting peace and then busting us back down to Cold War. And I guess the idea is he's like milking us for resources, but we're not really paying that much. I'm going to go ahead and take the alliance. It's going to reveal a lot of world map to us. And I think that's a big deal.
Now, is an alliance revocable?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It costs resources to do so, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it'll cost him some influence, and the sooner he does it, the more influence it will cost.
Green has a lot of cities.
Yeah, we knew Green was doing well. Green has more of a sense of the shape of Purple's empire, so the fact that Purple also has a landmass up here helps to inform us. Somewhat. There is a total break. I thought for sure there was a land connection between Skyen and Karandar. But the fact that there is a total break here helps to explain why Red is still alive. And also what we did to Red when we took Nathan. We locked them into these two provinces. So that's, I can see why they're in sort of a rough position. So there's land masses like way, way, way up. Blue actually owns most of the oceans, which is interesting. The only player to have any significant ocean presence is the one city player.
Now, if you colonize one of those territories that Blue's in, what? I mean, Blue still has all their stuff there.
Yeah, and you like. If you are at peace with Blue, you can also extract from tiles that they are extracting from. But if you're Cold War or less, their stuff blocks you from being able to gather the resources. And you can burn it down with your stuff. But, it's a endeavor that costs. So, okay, you're not at war with anybody. Pink has declared war on Red.
And Purple's already at war with Red.
Yeah, and Purple is still at war with Red. Pink's declaration of war on Red is, I think, like largely symbolic. It's just we hate everybody. Because realistically, Pink's ability to affect Red is probably somewhat limited. Well, Pink, I guess, they could sail across, but like, I don't know if that would be a smart thing to do. I don't know if they would get a lot out of that. All right, we really want to make it down here, and this is the direction my settler wants to be able to go in as well. But we are not having a lot of luck with the red squad. This is the thing where, like, if we had taken the peace treaty, we would be able to sail our settler across more safely.
Yeah. One thing I was thinking when the peace treaty was offered was, like, it makes sense to want to grab Gokful, but, like, we're not in a position to do that.
I think our army is strong enough to do that.
Okay.
But we need to, wait for an opportune moment. We need to wait for there not to be a full army of dudes at Karandar who can immediately counterattack.
So how are you feeling about this game now that you're allied with Green?
It's going very badly. Green is not close enough to winning for me to feel like we're going to get dragged along to space.
Okay.
I think by the time Green hits a victory condition, they'll have had plenty of time to reconsider their position.
Okay.
Ugh. Yeah, no, I feel rough. I feel like this is going very badly and we are definitely going to lose. But I often feel that way in games that I do eventually win.
I'm aware. I've seen it many times.
I'm not saying that this is one of them. I think this is probably an okay place to end the episode. That's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I don't want to roll over to the next turn because we have guys in the water that have to be like moved right away, and it's going to be a whole thing. So this is just where we're going to stop it for the moment. Thank everybody for watching. When you come back next time, we have our eyes on a landmass that might be reasonable to settle on. Hopefully we can get a settler actually across the water sometime soon and continue on with our faction quest. We're not going to be able to race anybody out of the economic win condition. We're certainly not going to be able to pull ahead on science at this point. I think people are too close. But if we can push through our faction quest, I do still think there is a non-zero chance that we could make that work somehow. So that's currently my plan, is to try our best to make that happen. So come back next time to see if there's any hope of that. And we'll see you then.